Hello, Admiral Thrawn here, making another Let's Mod video for Age of Petty Kings. This I'm going to be going over the steps to get this new model we just made here, the Javelin, into the actual game. Now, I will say right now, I am in the middle of eating some delicious breakfast rolls, so if you hear me pause for a little while, I'm like going, yum, then it's because I'm eating the breakfast rolls, but yeah. While I'm doing that, though, I'm going to be showing you how to get this into the game. So what we have right here is a 3D model, but that's it. It's not tied to anything. It's not tied to any bones or anything like that. So here's what I've been doing, at least. You have your 3D model finished and all. It's all mapped on here correctly. So you say File, Export, and then export a wavefront object and all. I found this one works best. Yeah, there was definitely other ways of doing this, but this is the way that I found works for me. And let's call it Javelin, and put it into the Petty Kings units folder. That's what I've been using to export these things to. So we export the object to there. Now we go to the Petty Kings units folder that I just exported into, and the Javelin is right here. Hello Javelin, how's it going? So now we need to make the unit. So my advice is this: you generally want to base your units off of existing units. So we're going to take the Andal Militia model here and use that as our base. The reason why we're doing this is because the shields have all already been imported into this one, and so we don't have to basically import all of those and get that all sorted out. And since they're all humans and all, they all use the same basic body, so we can then just sort of add things onto it rather than creating an entirely new thing from scratch, which is a huge pain in the ass. So, breakfast roll, delicious. So now what we do is File, Import, Wavefront to Object, and the Javelin. And there it is. Hello, Javelin. You can also select it by going to Groups and select. By the way, this is Milkshape 3D. Milkshape 3D is a really useful thing for Medieval 2 modeling and all that. You can get a 30-day free trial online, and you can pay for it if you want to. If you do not pay for it because you get it somewhere else, I would say make sure to give back to the community to make up for it and all. I'm not going to endorse it, but if you do that, give back to the community to make up for it and make it make it worth it and all for humanity and stuff, you know. Anyways, so we have our Javelin here, and first off I have to get it over to here. So I'm going to rotate it. So model rotate minus 90 degrees, rotate, and move it. And one nice thing here is this: when you move it, by moving it here like this, you're not going to move it up or down, and by moving it here like this, you're not going to move it like like to the left or right or whatnot. So basically, you can easily control which directions it's moved through this and all. And I'm going to put it into his hand there like that. And so now it's in his hands, but that's not it. So first off, we need to comment it. Commenting is really annoying, but it has to be done. So you go Spear. See this comment here? It says primary active. Spear 0 like that. Now, this is basically saying, okay, this is when the thing is used. This is what it's going to be called, and this is a 0 because the magical 0 god will not allow us to make units without having the magical 0 there. So yeah, so we have that. And one other thing, it's okay. In fact, it's actually advisable to double up and have multiple of these things. Because basically, if you have, say, a couple of primary actives, it'll then randomly select them for each individual troop and all that. So that's how you have multiple different shields and all. Like you see here, the NIS there stands for New Andal Shield, and I have 12 of them, and so basically there's 12 different shields this guy could have and all. Generally, it's not going to have 12 different shield textures and all, but basically I theoretically could if I wanted to, and so there's 12 different textures it'll randomly select amongst. So yeah, anyways. So we're going to copy this and paste it here like that. So primary active 0, Jav 0. This does not need to be changed. It's good to change it. I think that if you don't change it, it'll cause issues when you try and import and export and stuff. But generally, I don't really bother to change it. I don't think it's that important. So yeah. But anyways, and then this here, this is the primary weapon that the guy uses. So in other words, primary is what he's going to first use at the start of the fight, and then he'll switch to secondary if he has to. And this is going to, so his primary weapon is going to be the javelins, and so okay. And we're going to rename it as well. So rename it javelin and rename. Now, one other thing you need to remember here. At the moment, this means that both the spear and the javelin will be renamed as the primary active, so we need to change this guy to secondary. And so this guy is now secondary active 0, and I believe this is correct. Sweet, alright. So yeah, so now he'll use the javelins first and then switch to the spear if he needs to. Now materials, we need to assign him to the attachments materials. So sometimes when you import away from an object, you'll get extra materials here. Delete the extra ones and assign it to the new one. So assign him to that. And joints, we'll assign him to the right hand because that's where he should be. Assign. And we save. File save. There. Now that that's done, we're going to... So we just finished this part. Now we're going to convert this. Oh, one other thing. We need to rename the actual model as well. Every model has to have load 0, load 1, load 2, like that at the very end of it here. This refers to how detailed it is. In the original game, there's 3 different like settings and all. If you're far away, or if you have low settings, you'll use load 2, medium settings load 1, and then ultra graphic settings load 0. Generally, mods assume you have a decent computer, and since this game is so old and all, then you can generally run load 0, so there's no reason to make multiple different levels of, stuff. So I just use load 0 for everything, and it's fine. But anyways, like, if you're going to be grabbing stuff from the original game to try and edit, always grab from load 0 because it means more detail. And this will be... Let's just call it Marines, or Andal Marines. Load 0. Right now I just plan on having these guys be for the Arbor, but I might have them be for other things as well. So for now it's Andal Marines. And these guys are Andal Marines, have the javelins, good, sweet, and this all looks good. So now we convert it. We're going to use Grumpy Old Man's Converter. I believe I mentioned this in the previous one, but yeah, you can easily convert. So convert milkshake 3D to mesh. One thing to remember, always be careful about this. If you were to say convert mesh to MS3D, you would overwrite all this progress here. So I would recommend always having the file be open. Like this is the same thing for editing DDS files and whatnot. Have the file be open in the background, so if you accidentally do overwrite it and all, you still have it open, so you can overwrite the save again. So yeah, File, convert, milkshake 3D to mesh, Andal Marines, okay, and proceed, save, yes, okay, and you can exit. So we have our Andal Marines here now that we just created here. You can see the date here. It was just made. I'm going to minimize out of fraps here. We can now take this, copy the mesh file, go to the unit models, units, generic, and paste it in. Again, the file structure that I have here is different from most other things and all, but it's all governed by the file paths inside of, and I will show it to you in a second, the battle models.modeldb. This file here you can access inside of unit models. It's right here, and this governs everything. So basically, if we want to make a new unit here, we're going to have to create it here. So to start with making our new unit and all, we need to make a new model, and this basically creates all of the unit models in the game. So first off, then I will warn you, this file here, if you mess up on editing it, it will crash the game at the start. So be very, very careful, pay attention to detail and all, and if your game does crash, I would say always make backups of this guy and always be ready to revert that if you need to. So we're going to add one here, 408. We now have 408 units in here instead of 407. So we need to add a new unit now. Let's scroll down to the bottom. I want to use some, let's see here, one second. I want to use some like militia or whatnot. Let's use red. Yeah. So I'm gonna use this militia model here as a base or whatnot. So I'm gonna call them Andal Marines. And now here's the important thing of this that you have to always remember. These little numbers along the edge here show the length, the number of characters in this line. So now that I've changed the name, I have to now double click, see that it has 13 characters in the line, and change this 7 to 13. If you do not, it will crash and it's really annoying. So fair warning there. Now I've got that. Now I'm going to use my new model here, the units generic Andal Marines here. So I'm going to change this here to Marines and check the line length. The line length is 50, so it's the same line length, so this is going to stay the same here. It's 50. And so there, and I'm only using the load 0, and yeah, so I'm only using the 1 unit model. Sometimes, like this thing here, this little one right here, this says how many unit models there are. Generally, you only want to use 1 if you're doing a mod and all that. You can do more, but it's generally pointless. I don't know of any mods that actually do that. So yeah. Now we go for the texture. So we have the model imported. Now we say, okay, which texture we're going to use. So we have the texture. We're going to have the file path here for the texture. And we're going to use the body for House Redwine, because this is going to be, you know, their Redwine units and all. And the body's fine, so we're going to use the old body. And we're going to use the normal map. Now, normal maps are weird. I'll be showing you how to make those in a later video. But generally speaking, it doesn't really matter. It does matter. They look kind of weird if you don't have the correct normal map. But for now, if you're editing an existing unit, you generally do not have to change the normal map at all. It's generally not needed unless you're making a brand new thing. So I'll show you how to do that later. But for now, we're going to use the Andal normal texture. And for the sprites, we're going to use, the sprites are, you may notice if you zoom way out on a Medieval 2 battle and all that, the units will sort of turn into sprites the farther out you go. Now, I don't know how to make good sprites and all, and I don't really have the time to do so, and so I'm going to just leave these sprites as the normal ones for the time being. I might make new ones later on, but I don't think it's that necessary, and I don't know how to do it, so yeah. So we're going to leave these the same way. Then finally there's the attachments. The attachments are, like, you may recall here, we have the, like in the materials, we have, one second, we have figure and attachments. So attachments, we're going to select by, it's the shield and the spears. Whereas with figure, it's the body. Like that. Now, this says which textures you're using. So basically this is saying for the body we're using the red wine texture, and for the attachments we're using the red wine diff texture. This is also fine. This is the texture that I'm using right here, and all this is this texture right here. So that's correct. I want to use that texture. That's all good. And this here is the part that we now need to change. These are the animations. Now the animations, I'm going to be making this a Javelin unit, and so I'm going to need to use Javelin animations. Now, as for what those animations are, I don't know off the top of my head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look into a different mod. Mods. Let's look in Cora. My mod, I removed all of the old unit models and all because I didn't like them. I didn't like having to deal with them cluttering up the battle models. Most mods did not remove the old unit models and all. So, with any luck, they'll have a Javelin here. Sweet, alright. So, these guys here, these Polish nobles, they'll have, well, that's a horse-mounted Javelin. I don't want a horse-mounted Javelin. Javelin men. This looks good, sweet. So I'm going to copy these here. All this here is the, like, I don't know what these numbers here in the bottom are, but these here are all the animation things. So copy, and then back to my battle models. I'm going to move you over to here so I can easily go back and forth. Back to my battle models, and over that, and paste. There. Now, the one problem with that is, so 1 second, I'm going to Control Z 1 second. Yeah. So this is my new one, this is the old one. I need to also make sure to replace these here, like the swords here, like the sword animations here with the spear animations. So I'm going to copy that, medieval to spear, and spear primary, replace sword primary with spear primary there. And there, that should be good. Okay, so I believe this should work. If it crashes, we'll know that it doesn't. But let's see now. So, one final thing. So now that we made the battle model and all, and let's move U1 over so we don't have to get this mixed up. We'll now go to the important holy grail of unit creation, export Desker unit, which is somewhere here. Let's export unit. So here we are, export Desker unit. This here contains all the information on actually making new units and all. So, going to let's just add it. I've divided it up where like each house has their own sort of section and all. Like House Redwine here is the Redwine Knights. Or no, actually Redwine is more messed up section and all. Okay, yeah, this is the Redwine section here. So we're going to create a new unit. This new unit here will be called Arbor Marines. Arbor Marines. The dictionary here, this is for the unit description and all. I'm going to leave it as that for now because I don't want to overload this tutorial. I'll change it in a second. And then the model here, for the model you need to change soldier to that, as well as armor upgrade models as well. Then, so class, what should the class be? I'm not familiar with how, I'm not familiar with how a lot of these things should work and all. So let's find a javelin example that we can then use. Let's go back to let's go back to Korra. This is the King of Rivers and Hills mod and all. It's a great mod. It's sort of the inspiration for this one. Let's look at their EDU and see what they like. Because javelin. Yeah, sweet. Okay, this is a javelin unit here that we can base it off of. So the way that javelins work then is they're class missile. There. And then banner faction is the type of banner that they'll have and all that. Let's make them missile, or actually, let's make them infantry and all, or main spearmen and all. Because these guys are sort of hybrids and all, so let's make them of class missile, but they're type spearmen. Alright. And then the soldier and whatnot, etc. Mount effect. I don't have elephants in this mod, so that shouldn't change anything. This is how effective they are against specific mounts, I believe. And then attributes. Seatharian, hardy, can withdraw. These are not pikemen. Mercenary unit. I have this here because that affects how the how I'm doing my recruitment system and all. My recruitment is special because all of my units are mercenary units, which means that they can be owned by any faction and all. Which is why here the only type of texture and attachments I use are merc. Generally, for Medieval 2 vanilla units, they'll have a whole bunch of things, like for an English skin, a French skin, HRE skin. Here, I don't have that, so that's just something to watch for. I like my method, but they all work fine, so yeah, whatever works. And then, alright. So, alright, so now this is the important part here, the stat primary and stat secondary. These are the weapon types and all. Okay. So I'm going to copy these and then change them around to make them like this. So basically right now, their primary weapon is a spear. It's actually a pikeman technically, because I copied these guys based off of pikemen. And then secondary, they have nothing here. This is basically just no weapon. So now, their primary stat is a javelin. It's thrown, and there, yada yada yada. And their second thing is going to be the spear, which is like for the like the spear militia, which I'm going to now go back up here and find some correct spear militia. Just copied that. There, so now they have the correct secondary thing. One thing to watch for is this. I almost actually missed that. I almost copied stat like these with the whole stat primary thing. I gotta make sure that these are stat secondary for the secondary weapon. There, so now they have the correct spears things and all that, and so all that. Armor, I'm going to so stat primary armor. This is the type of armor that they have. 330. That sounds. Let's make them 332. That should be good. As for what these individual things are and all, I think it's like one of them is skill, one of them is armor, one of them is shield. I don't recall which one is which. It doesn't really matter, but yeah. Stat heat is how badly they're affected when they're in the heat. I can give them like, how about a 1? These guys are from the arbor, they're used to the heat. And then stat mental is how good their morale is. Oh, ground is how they're affected by terrain. Not sure what these numbers all are. I'm going to give them a 1 and a 1, just because I don't think that they should be they're pretty effective in all terrain, but they aren't special in anything, so alright. Mental, let's give them a 9. These guys are tougher than most, or let's give them an 11. And they're trained, yes. Charge distance, yada yada yada. This is the number of troops inside the unit and all that. 60, etc. I believe the maximum is like 100, I think. I'm not sure though. And then stat cost. This is how much they cost to recruit. These guys will cost, so 700 to recruit on the campaign map. This is the upkeep. Upkeep is 250. And then 700 to recruit on the battle map as well. You gotta change them both. Armor upgrade levels. This has to do with whether the unit can be upgraded with heavier armor, like at a blacksmith. I'm not doing those in this mod. Other mods do. It's not that hard to pick up. Ownership here has to do with who can actually own the unit. Right now, everybody can. Like the whole enchilada, they can all own the unit, so it's all good. And then finally, Era 012. This is for custom battles. If you were to play as the House Red Wine and all, custom battles, it's always Byzantium, which is House Red Wine. And then this here doesn't matter. So, alright, we've made the unit entry and all that. That's all good. And you know what? Let's add the unit description as well. It's not going to hurt anything. So, go to export units, which is under data, text, and all that. Here, I'll show you where it is. Petty Kings, data, text, and then export units, which is here. And we'll make our new entry. So these are would be Arbor Marines. So this basically takes the name that we chose here and turns it into an actual name and all. But just because that way, it's sort of like the Imperial Campaign Region Settlement names or whatever. It just lets us do more with the names and the syntax and whatnot. And these guys are going to be Arbor Marines. And then the description we're going to leave as WIP. That means it stands for Work in Progress. I generally don't write descriptions when I first create the units and all that. And so this way, when I go back to look and see if there's any missing descriptions, I can always just search for WIP and it'll find all of them. And these here are spear and javelin hybrid units. And then finally, make sure that the dictionary entry for this one is correct, Arbor Marines, and start the game. Let's see if this works. There's a very good chance that it'll crash, and that's, I believe it's a separate crash, hopefully. And it crashed again. Alright, so this means there's almost certainly a problem here in battlemodels.modeldb. So let's just make sure here. Animal Marines, 13. 50, this here is length 50, correct. And I didn't change any of these. Oh, I think I know what it is. It's 10. And that there is 18. Okay, that should be good. Yep, it started good. Yeah, so you see, I forgot to update this, the number right here for the line length, and it crashed. But yeah, so now, custom battle. Let's play this on the Cape Wrath, just because that seems like an appropriate place for Marines to be. House Redwine, we're going to make them team 2, because that's the position that Marines would be in. And then let's put the Storm Kings over here. So, alright, so we have Arbor Marines here. There's no unit model yet, like unit card yet. I'll show you how to do those in a different video. Let's get a bunch of them. Storm Kings, let's just randomly select an army from them. Alright, sweet. So I have the Storm King army here. And let's start the battle, see what happens. Okay. Start deployment, and this looks promising. They have the javelins there. They look good. Yeah. Alright, let's see here. So, make a big line and start. Yeah, I don't want them to have skirmish mode. I'm probably going to remove skirmish mode from these guys because it doesn't make sense for them to have it. And so, let's see if the animations actually work. Let's charge some of these guys out ahead to see if we can actually get the animations working. I'm going to lose this battle, obviously, because they have a much better force than me. But yeah, let's get this working. Okay, so charging forward and stopping. Javelins. Whoops. Wait. Looks like I have the javelins backwards. Whoops, my bad. Yeah, I should probably change that. You see here the javelin, like the tip is facing the wrong direction. All right, so I need to fix that. Then they can throw them, kill a couple dudes. They get hit, and now they switch back to the spears. Perfect. All right. Couple things need to change and all that, but now, so we've created the new unit here. This is a brand new unit here, called Arbor Javelinmen, and they now have their spears, and they actually fought off, they routed those knights. Sweet. So these guys are actually pretty good. Nice. So yeah, these are some of the new Storm King units that I've been working on and all that. Some new shields and all that, etc., some new houses, but yeah. And so, yeah, so there's a couple things we need to change, though. So first off, we need to make the javelins face the correct direction. Second of all, it doesn't make sense for them to be holding one javelin and like have no spear around here, so I'm going to give them a spear that they're holding while they're in the javelin mode and all. So, exit battle. Okay. Alright. The upside of this is now, since I'm just changing the unit model itself, I can keep the game open and just replace the unit model and just start new battles, and it'll keep working and all. So I'm going to leave this game here open. And so, okay. So, model, javelin, rotate, 90 degrees, there we go. Okay. Yeah, this makes sense, because this way, when he pulls his arm back, it'll be facing towards the guy he's actually trying to throw it at. So that's all good. Alright, now, and this right here is the somewhat tricky part. I want to take this spear that he has right now, and I want to give him a version of it that when he's holding the javelin instead of the spear, this spear is going to be over here on this arm, sort of underneath the shield and all. So to do that, I'm going to first import, wait for an object, here's the spear, not sure where the spear is. I'm not sure if I can copy and paste the spear. Doesn't look like I can. One thing that's really nice is this. So you can open up Blender, new, file, import, milkshape, marines, delete that, select that, and select the spear. I showed you this in the last episode and all, but it's really useful. So select the spear, Control I to select everything but the spear, delete all of that, file, export, wavefront object, spear, there. So we have the spear now here, that's all good. All right. So now that that's all done, we're going to import the spear. There, so we have the spear, and we're going to select it, model rotate, rotate it, move it, there, up a little bit. Let's rotate it a little bit more. There. So basically now the spear is sort of tucked under the shield and all that, so while he's flinging his javelins, he'll be able to sort of be holding the spear there like that. And let's move it a little bit so that it's not going into the ground and all. Okay, good. So here's the tricky part. So first off, we got to assign him to all of this stuff. So delete this attachments and assign him to the correct attachments. Assign him to the left elbow. Left elbow is generally where the shields get assigned, so... Actually, let's assign him to left hand. There, alright. And so, he's now assigned to everything, but here's the tricky, weird part and all. Him and the javelin now need to become part of the same quote-unquote group and all that. They need to be part of the same entity. So we need to select the javelin as well and hit regroup. This renames it regroup 1, but it keeps the comment here, so it's still primary active, that's correct. Rename it javelin. So now here's what this means. This means that when the game looks, okay, so what is the guy's primary weapon? It still says, okay, the primary weapon is this group and all that with the javelin. But it will also say this is the primary weapon as well. So when he's using the javelin, this will always be here on the left hand, and because we already assigned these specific vertices to those correct bones and all that. So we still going to be the left hand. It's still going to be part of this correct texture and stuff, but it will also appear only when he's using the javelin and all. So that should be all good. Let's see if this works. Save, convert to mesh, handle marines, correct. Proceed, save, yes, okay, okay. This doesn't really matter right now. Petty King's units, handle marines, copy, overwrite, sweet. Okay, let's see if this actually works. No, I don't want the battle, I want a custom battle. Let's just do barrel lands. Oh, actually, let's do the trident. I just made this as a custom battle a second ago. Sort of dumb that it wasn't in the first one. I sort of like, me being like dull, but yeah. So the trident is now a custom battle map and all. Once again, let's go all Marines. And let's get a randomly selected high tower army in here. So start the battle. Okay, sweet. So as you can see here, these guys, they're now holding the javelins, but they also have the spears with them as well. Let's make sure all the animations and stuff are working. Line them all up here on the edge of the river. I think the edge of the river is actually right here. There. Start battle. What the hell? It's running ahead. Charge! Attack! For honor! One other thing that's actually kind of fun is, as you can see here, the shields. Some of these shields here, specifically the ones with the ships, these are the ones that we were doing in the previous Let's Mod video, like the one with the shields, so yeah. It also builds on itself, you know. But yeah. Anybody attack? Get closer in, kill those guys. Alright, sweet. So, okay. Now they're going to throw them. They have the correct point facing forward. Good. And throw. Throw the javelins. Throw. And now they're switching back into spear mode, or at least they should be. And let's see here. Are they holding their spears now? It's hard to tell, but it looks like they've correctly transitioned into spear mode. Good. Yeah, they have. Sweet, perfect. Or have they? Yeah, you see this guy right here. He has, yeah. Alright, this looks good. Sweet. One final thing, I want to add some extra javelins underneath the shield and all, and have those be sort of stick around and all. So let's do that right now, just to add just a little bit more flavor to the unit and all. So let's import a couple javelins. Import one. Select. I'm going to regroup them all in a second, but let's just do that. So import 2. Let's rotate this guy a bit and move him a bit. And this guy here becomes Javelin 2. Import. Javelin 3. Rotate. Move. So we got these 3 javelins. Now what we're going to do is we're going to regroup them first off. Ammo. Model rotate. Move. Stick them right there. And let's move them up a little bit as well. Alright, sweet. So that should be good for that. Since these guys are going to be there all the time, no matter what, let's not make them either of the weapons. Let's instead... what would we comment these as? Well, first off, let's attach them. Delete the extra attachments, assign it to the correct attachments, assign it to the left hand. How do you comment like a quiver for let's see here. These guys don't have quivers, I guess. Okay, sweet. So it's just equipment. Save. No, I don't want to save that. So this here becomes commented as equipment 0. Let's call it ammo. Okay. That should do it. Let's see if that works. So, Petty King's units, Anvil Marines, and then let's also get rid of the skirmish mode. I'm not sure where that is. Where is skirmish mode? How do you disable that? Okay, so I'm not quite sure how to get rid of skirmishing for a unit. I'll figure that out on my own time. But yeah, just finish this off. Custom battle. What about the God's Eye? Let's do Banks of the Mandarin. It seems appropriate for this. And yeah, let's do it versus House Manderley. How about? So let's do a little bunch of Arbor Marines, randomized army of Manderleys, and start her up. See if we have the ammo actually there. And alright, sweet, looks like it worked. Perfect. So yeah, now as you can see behind their shields they have the 3 javelins as well. Perfect. Alright, sweet. So we have created our Arbor Marines. These guys here are pretty much done. I might make a few more changes to them later on, but yeah, that's pretty much a finished product. And yeah, so it should be it. Hopefully you learned in this two-parter how exactly to make new units, and hopefully you got some decent skills and stuff and want to do this more in the future. And if not, then oh well. Yeah, that should be about it. Let's just make sure that these animations actually work. Make sure that these guys stick around when they transition. Alright, so... No, I don't want you to skirmish mode. No, don't skirmish, don't skirmish. Skirmishing is for losers. So, throw your spears at the pikemen. Seems to be working. And transition into regular spearman mode. like these guys over here already have. And the javelins stick around. Good. So yeah, that's it. Admiral Thrawn signing off.